All right, good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining me tonight. It's February the 15th, 2026. This is the third class of the Life Mastery Path. And let me pull up this PowerPoint to show you where we're at with all that. And then we'll dive in. More than open for Q&A, for discussion, sharing knowledge and wisdom. But if you're new to the class, let me just orient everybody to what we're all about. So just a few minutes here. So the company is Anahat Education Group, and we own the Institute of Interpersonal Hypnotherapy and the International Association of Interpersonal Hypnotherapists. So the theme is definitely hypnotherapy, but why? And I got into hypnotherapy because I was originally going for my degree in Chinese medicine. I'd been to two different Chinese medical colleges, but I realized the power of the mind is just so important, and I couldn't dedicate my life to only treating the body or the energy body. Once we tap into the power of the mind, we can help to influence every aspect of our life. So, the influencing every aspect of life theme is the life mastery path. So the class is called Meditation, Inner Work, and Spiritual Practice. So I'll definitely do some meditation tonight. And then, yeah, we're going every other week. So this is the third class, and you can see here, we did the introduction, which is on our website, instituteofhypnotherapy.com, Introduction to the Life Mastery Path and Living the Self-Actualized Life. Last class, we talked about self-realization and the enlightenment process. And tonight we'll go into A Course in Miracles with the idea of finding alignment with divine mind. And then you can see the other classes, which I won't read all those that we have scheduled for the rest of the year. We just finished an enrollment, so February 10th, but there's still some seats available if anybody's interested in joining the February group. If not, the next group starts hypnotherapy training in May. So tonight we're going into A Course in Miracles in relationship to life mastery. And if you're new to the course and you'd like to take a deep dive at no charge, you can go to instituteofhypnotherapy.com/ACIM, and you're going to see 25 classes that I did last year that took a very deep dive into A Course in Miracles. Also, if you're interested in advanced meditation training, onlinemonastery.com is certainly worth checking out. And we have a retreat happening up here in the Adirondack Mountains, April 23rd to the 26th, if you're interested in taking a really deep plunge. But let's jump ahead to what is the Life Mastery course? So it's broken down into two parts, the getting organized process, and I'm not sure I've made it really clear what you actually do with this. So if you're into these teachings and really working to apply them, the getting organized process is actually a binder, and I would recommend actually doing it physically. This day and age, we're all staring at computer screens, but it's so easy for the process to become out of sight, out of mind. Not that it's not effective if you even just put a little bit of energy into it, but what I do is I print these things out and I look at them every day. It just becomes a living meditation. And once you're done with the process, mapping out all 10 steps, it's actually relatively easy. Maybe in even 15 minutes, you could just put your attention on these themes. In the first class, we talked about the core mission statement, and that related to the idea of who are you and why are you here? I taught you how to write that out, and I hope you have that by now. If you don't, feel free to ask questions during the class, like how could we refine that and why is it so important? Again, to be able to answer the question, who am I and why am I here, is really the essence of being able to be successful. Because if not, if you don't know who you are and you don't know what your purpose is, you're probably doing something that's not dharmic, not harmonious, not aligned with who you really are. One of the best ways to ensure you're aligned with who you really are is A Course in Miracles. So we'll look at that tonight in relationship to these themes. In some future class, we'll go into life principles, but the idea is that you've written down your highest values, the things that you just refuse to live without. Things for me are like words that I put there, God. You can use whatever word you want for that, but I'd encourage you to think of the highest, that you align with the highest. Again, that's the theme of tonight's class. Other words that go in principles or values, words like love, integrity, kindness, compassion, respect, humility, discipline, time in silence, time in solitude, right? The things that you honor that are very important to stay on the path. Okay. In some other class, we'll review universal laws, but tonight let's look again at life categories prioritized. So you could think about them for yourself again, but we'll look at how A Course in Miracles can relate. We talked about those last time, the Buddhist dog sorting pictures. Um, we'll talk about how, if we look at those life categories prioritized, how A Course in Miracles can help us with all of these themes. But let's see. When we look at the getting organized process, again, this would be a binder, and you would have tabs in there and different sections. The first section is your core mission statement. You write it down, you look at it. Here's mine. And I definitely encourage you to come up with your own. So let's spend more time tonight with life categories prioritized, and in other classes, we could look at some of these other categories. So when we talk about A Course in Miracles, the course itself says it's an extremely practical course, that the spirituality isn't meant to just be abstract, it's meant to be lived. So let's go into, first of all, what is A Course in Miracles before we really look at these topics. But I hope as you're looking at these, you'll remember these are the main categories we want to achieve success in every aspect of our life. And the highest category is spirituality. A Course in Miracles, of course, is guiding us into the awareness of spirit, but even more important, perhaps, than putting our attention on spirit, which we can do tonight, the mental emotional health is probably the biggest component of it. So if we go back again to what is the topic tonight, A Course in Miracles, finding alignment with divine mind. The Course itself teaches that only the mind can be sick and only the mind is in need of healing. Spirit doesn't have any problems, right? Spirit is perfect, whole, and complete. And your body, according to A Course in Miracles, doesn't have a will of its own. It is going to move when you move it. And according to the course, it gets sick when you will for it to be sick or unintentionally think the wrong thoughts that can cause psychosomatic illness. The course even says the body doesn't just die, it dies, we drop it away gracefully, according to the Course in Miracles, when it's basically no longer useful, when the mind makes the decision to move on. So the course itself is basically saying you're not the victim of the world you see, you're inventing the world you see. Okay, so once again, you're not the victim of the world you see, you're inventing the world you see. And the Course says nothing happens to you that you're not somehow asking for on some level. So aligning our mind with divine mind, to me, is going to be the ultimate level of how it can be successful. Because if the Course teaches, think the thoughts you think with God. But how do you do that? Like, what is this? Like, is it just a philosophy? A Course in Miracles itself is a book. Here's an older copy of it. The older copy doesn't have the supplements in it, which is the Song of Prayer and a manual for psychotherapy. And actually, it's the manual for psychotherapy that talks about the question of payment when it comes to doing this kind of work. Because again, if we go back to our life categories prioritized, what would A Course in Miracles say about the career and financial component? So we can definitely talk about that when we get to it. But the course itself, in case you guys are not familiar, it's a book. It's might be in the category of channeled material. And I say might be because it's really up to each individual to research it, to read it if you're inspired, and to ask, who's speaking here? The voice that claims to be speaking is definitely basically claiming to be Christ. It's it's just like right there in the text. But I would encourage you, depending on where you're at with that, if you're a Christian or not, just to consider them to be extremely good teachings. And the source they come from perhaps isn't even as important as the teachings themselves. So there's a 669-page text, which gives you the real philosophical overview of the course. It explains all the terms. What is God? What is spirit? What is the miracle? What is Christ? What is the Holy Spirit? Who are you? Why do you even exist? It's not like the Bible in that it's based on a lot of stories in a sense. It's just a very direct pointing to a reality that we'll just call God, right? And the Course basically acknowledges a theistic model that you're a child of God. The Course teaches you are not your own creator. So again, when we ask the question in Deep Life Mastery work, who am I? We don't want to be trying to answer the question ourselves. If something, let's say you created Play-Doh, a little like Mr. Bill character, just imagine a little being made out of Play-Doh or whatever. If that person, that little being, became self-conscious and said, "Who am I?" it couldn't answer the question itself because it's not its own creator. It would be wise if that little Mr. Bill, some of you may know Mr. Bill, the little character made out of Play-Doh, if that little being could turn to you and say, "Who am I?" it would be much wiser for the created to ask the creator, "Who am I?" And same question, ask that higher wisdom, "What is my purpose? What am I for? Why do I exist?" If you only read the Course in Miracles text, you'll get these ideas, but you won't necessarily be directly in touch with the reality that we want to be sure we go into tonight. So Course in Miracles has workbook lessons. There's one per day. And for me, life mastery work has eventually evolved into I must do A Course in Miracles every day. The workbook lessons are always going to be better thoughts than our current thoughts. Right? We have something that A Course in Miracles just calls ego, right? Not a term you'd be unfamiliar with, but let's elaborate on the difference about why it's so important in life mastery work. So in the workbook lessons, there's two parts. Part one takes over half a year. It's a bit more than 50% of the lessons that help to unravel this thing called ego. The latter lessons help to really reestablish you in spirit. If you're thinking about success in every category of your life, you want to make that shift from egoic-based thinking and living or the egoic trance to waking up to who you truly are, to be able to be in touch with spirit and to ask the question, "Who am I? Why am I here? What's my purpose?" The Course says, "I'm only here to be truly helpful. I'm here to represent him," but I'll change that pronoun to that. So I'm only here to be truly helpful. I'm here to represent that which sent me. I'm here to represent the source that sent me. So were you sent here? I think the most important thing to realize is we are here. But what does here even mean? Basically, you are here now. The Course just starts with one basic idea. Truth is. Truth is. And the Course says all you need is the truth. And I'm sure you've heard the term, the truth will set you free. But set free of what? Set free of the egoic mind. Why would that distinction be so important? According to A Course in Miracles, the ego is insane. So if you're working to achieve success in every aspect of your life, but you're doing it from your ego, it will never work. A Course in Miracles teaches only God's plan will work. But I'll elaborate a little bit more on that one. Only God's plan for salvation will work. Not just only God's plan will work, but God's plan for salvation. Well, what does that mean, right? It sounds very religious, and I guess it kind of is. But save from what? Because Buddha was also trying to save people from suffering. So at minimum, wouldn't we want to be in a path that keeps us from suffering, right? Not necessarily saved from the earth, not necessarily saved from hell, because the only real hell for a child of God, according to A Course in Miracles, is to not to be experiencing God. So what do we mean by God? If ego is this insane mind that makes up illusions, spirit is that which is sane. It is that which is real. It's true. And when you experience it, which is my intention to bring us into tonight, it's pure light and even beyond light, but light is a pretty reasonable thing to say. A Course in Miracles mentions, it says, like from the voice that's speaking, says, "My message is light." Right? So the message of A Course in Miracles is the return to light or the return to love. So to align our mind with the divine is to know who we are as light and love, and to think the thoughts we think with light and love. Remember the Life Mastery course, you're plugging in key ideas, like your core mission statement. Is it aligned with spirit? Right? I'm only here to be truly helpful. I'm here to represent him who sent that which sent me. I'm here to relieve the suffering of all beings. I encourage you to really revisit your mission statement or do it if you haven't done it yet, because you program this stuff in, at least we can do this at some point in this class, but I do it for myself, I do it with my clients, You program this into the subconscious mind. And it's basically, this is how we're living our life, right? It's done in alignment with spirit, and then the success is pretty well guaranteed, right? I don't think there's any real guarantees in life, and it doesn't mean it'll always be easy. But imagine living your life from a mind that is, the ego is confused. Again, it's insane. It's fear-based. It attacks. The Course in Miracles says it's actually a murderous mind. It's the mind that holds grievances. It's the mind that utilizes anger to try to get what you want. Imagine creating and manifesting an intentional life based on the ego's insanity. The ego doesn't know who you are, and it actually is terrified of who you really are. Who you really are is the antithesis of the ego. The ego is an individual separate self that cares largely for itself and maybe the things it thinks belongs to it. Spirit knows we're all one. Only God's plan for salvation will work in A Course in Miracles means there's only one problem, which is separation, the experience of not being one with your source, which again is basically hell, and the experience of who we really are is one with our source. So it's a discernment process that we're doing in A Course in Miracles. We're separating the real from the unreal, truth from illusion. And again, which side of that equation are you on when you're thinking about what you plug into this formula? For instance, we will get to your long-term vision, right? Encourage you to start focusing on that. Notice how I didn't say goals there. It says vision. What is your big vision? I can tell you for our school, which is currently a state licensed career school for hypnotherapy, now offering life coaching, which is cool. You can check that out on our website. Um, but the vision is bigger than just what we're doing now. The vision is actually to be a college or university. And my bigger vision is more of a monastic theme residential center for people to hold deep teachings. Because that's my big vision and always has been in deep meditation for like 30 plus years that I've been aware of that, it's always moving towards that. So it's the difference between living a divinely inspired life based on real vision or a life where you're struggling with confusion, with the ego's insanity, right? The Course talks about the ego's nightmare, right? And when we're suffering, we're basically in the ego's nightmare. The solution, as I was saying, the problem is separation. The ego makes you feel separate from what is. The solution is oneness with what is, oneness with light, love, peace, joy, truth, bliss, grace, mercy, goodness. Right? So how do we get there? How do we get from the ego's nightmare to what the Course calls the ego's happy dream? The ego's happy dream is basically you're consciously creating your life. And this process can do that. Just these 10 steps will make a world of difference as to how you're consciously creating your life. But how do we get from the ego's illusion of separation and fear to spirit's alignment with love and oneness? The means to that for that shift is the miracle. The miracle is a shift that occurs in your mind from illusion to truth, from fear to love. So if you're really determined to live your very best life, you want every thought looked at and shifted in alignment with spirit. Remember, tonight is about aligning your mind with the divine so that everything you're doing comes from that space, a divinely inspired life, a life based on the return to oneness. But how do we get that shift to occur? Well, number one, I highly recommend if you haven't started them or never did it before, do A Course in Miracles lessons. You can go to their website, acim.org, and then just look for eventually you'll just find the workbook lessons there. Of course, they're in the book itself. You can download a free PDF of A Course in Miracles just by Googling it. Just put like ACIM PDF. It'll come right up in the first beginning of the search. There's an app at the acim.org website you can use to access the lessons and actually our school's new dashboard. Some of you are familiar with now. We got permission from A Course in Miracles, the Foundation for Inner Peace, to actually put those in our dashboard. So there's many ways to get into the lessons, but basically you do one per day. And over a year, it's going to start to shift your mind to where you only think the thoughts you think with God. But the real means of the miracle, the shift that gets us out of the suffering and into alignment with spirit, is forgiveness. So the mechanism of the miracle is forgiveness. How do we get from an angry, fear-based world into a world of peace, love, and abundance? We forgive. And the Course says not because we're being holy or special, but because we're being extremely practical. That if you hold on to the ego's nightmare internally, you're going to get an external nightmare of reality. The outside is basically reflecting the inside. So for me, life mastery work is to prioritize the inside. Instead of just saying, all right, we're going to go out there and build this thing, we're starting with core mission, core values, alignment with universal law, and really good clarity of what's most important. Okay. But anyway, to be able to be aligned with that, we need to keep forgiving or letting go of what's not real. A Course in Miracles talks about going through a sorting out process, right? And you want to be able to discern when is it ego, when is it spirit. Let's do a fun meditation that'll help to make a clear distinction between the essence of spirit and the, um, you might say, the darkness or heaviness that the ego can bring about. So you're more than welcome to close your eyes. And some of you may have done this meditation before, but it's really simple, easy, and you could use it anytime you want. So with your eyes closed, I'd like you to think about anything bothering you, any person who's upset you, any fear, concerns, worries, any heaviness, darkness, any discomfort that you feel right now. Just sense in your own body, in your own being, any fatigue, heaviness, tension, darkness, again, fears, upsets, grievances. No judgment, just be aware that in your system, and night might not be only love and light. Imagine that below you, let's say below your chair, your couch, there's a trap door. And below that, as if in the basement of the house or in the first floor below you, however you imagine a swimming pool, an ocean of light. Imagine below where you're sitting now is just pure love and light, as if you're going underneath the facade of matter into the underlying essence. In a moment, I'm going to snap my fingers. When I do, I like you to imagine dropping as if out of your body and into the light below. So don't even think. On 3, 2, 1, just drop. Just drop down as if you splash into the light below you. See it in front of you. See it behind you. Imagine this light to the left, to the right. Look up and down. Imagine you're only surrounded by pure liquid love. One light that shines in all directions everywhere you look. Let it permeate your sense of self, your individual awareness, feeling more one with this ocean of light. Take your time. Sense that it's very peaceful. There's really nothing happening. It's just still. It's still there. It's always there. It's pure peace. It is pure love. It is pure joy. Just breathe it in. To forgive would be to let go of anything that's not light and love, peace and joy and bliss. Now imagine looking up through the hole in the floor to see your body up there in the chair, wherever you're sitting. Notice any of that heaviness or darkness up there, and now just float back up as the light. And as you exhale, let the light infuse this moment, draining away any darkness, tension, heaviness, or holding. Simply breathe into the present moment. More light, more love, more peace. Let it soften your body. Let it open your heart, knowing that you're safe. Just simply forgive or let go of anything that's not light or love. Don't suppress it. Just let it go. The Course teaches I can elect to change all thoughts that hurt. I choose to think the thoughts I think with pure light and love. Take a moment, notice anything else up in the awareness of your body, heart, or mind. Doubt, skepticism, the cynical voice, the inner critic voice, the monkey mind that won't be silent, the heart that's sad or grieving or hurt. No judgment, just be aware of what we as human beings tend to do. But now just drop out of your body as if you splash into that light below. Again, breathe it in, sense it all around you, within you, as you. Your being the light of the world is absolutely a Course in Miracles statement. I am the light of the world. Sense it as the heart of your heart, the core of your soul. Just there in light, being still, doing nothing. Honoring being, not doing. Honoring oneness, not separation. Honoring that which is true and always there, not that which is illusory and changing. Be with the divine sweetness of pure potentiality. Anything can manifest out of this space. Sense how this space is capital S space, this space that permeates all of creation and beyond. Getting more in touch with that, look up through the hole in the floor again, and there's your body up there in the chair. Take a breath and inhale your awareness right here now. As you exhale, open your heart even more, thinking, forgive and let go. And just let the light infuse your body, your heart, your mind right here now. Let us do it one more time. This time a little bit different once we're down in the light. So sense anything up here, especially the idea that as a body, you feel separate from other bodies. Right? You think you're an individual and you think you're a separate body, but now just drop out of that body, down into the light below. And yet now that you're in that light again, imagine looking around and seeing everyone else as beings of light and love as well. Imagine you look to your left and there's hundreds, thousands of other sparks of light or souls or children of the divine. Look to your right, there's more of them, in front, behind. Minds are joined. You're one with all beings. You could sense the very large presence of that infinite light, and you can sense the nodes of light, the little points of light where it congeals into a sense of I am. Sense that you're one of those beings. The Course calls this the sonship, or the children of God. One creation, one perfect creation, where every drop is like its source. Total peace, perfection and harmony. The Course talks about the great rays of light that shine throughout creation. See if you can just imagine a reality of eternal light and love. If you were to use the word heaven here, you wouldn't be totally misguided. The Course says heaven is a choice I must make. Yet you can find that right here now by putting your attention on it. Just keep putting your attention on light and love, peace and joy, oneness with all beings. Then look up through the hole in the floor again. There's your body up there, but this time when you float up, don't think that you're in a body or you are a body. Be the space that surrounds the body right here now. As you bring awareness back to the body, be the light that is inhabiting this body. You're not actually in the body. The body is in you. It's in your awareness. Be aware that you are the light, the awareness, being aware of a human experience. With eyes closed, maybe you can sense you're not a human being who has a spiritual experience. You're a spiritual being having a human experience. So once again, in the deep essence of contemplating who we really are, just ask yourself internally now, who am I? But don't just let your mind answer the question. Let your experience answer the question, I exist. Remember, truth is, I exist. If you're very still, you'll notice your peace. You might affirm in your mind, I am peace. Remember, tonight's class is to align your mind with divine mind, to think the thoughts you think with God. I am love. I am pure joy, right here now. I am pure bliss. The Course teaches to be in the kingdom of God, to be in the reality of spirit. You just need to put your attention on it. So find within you as you that which is still and pure and free and forever. You're focusing on that which is immortal, that which is eternal, that which never changes, the light of the world that you are right here now. So who am I? The Course would simply have you say, I am spirit. The Course current lessons, as your eyes are closed, says, I cannot see apart from God. God is my source. I cannot see apart from her. My mind, actually today's lesson, God's mind is the mind with which I think. The mind of God is that which I think with. I think the thoughts I think with peace. Once your mind's aligned with that, then just ask, what is my purpose? What is my mission? What is my function? Or another way to ask it in the deep recesses of your own soul would be, how can I be of service? How can I serve best? And you can slowly take your time, transitioning out of this, keeping your eyes closed. So I'll just count from 1 to 5 to help anybody went kind of deep with that, and then we could shift gears a little. So number 1, coming back more and more right here now. 2 and 3, start to breathe, move, stretch. Good. 4, and when you're ready, and 5, you can just let your eyes open. I stopped the PowerPoint for a moment. Let's just check in if you'd like to share with me. What was that like? What do you feel? What do you notice? Anybody have trouble tapping into it? Anybody want to share? What is it like to take the plunge into spirit? Does it make you miserable and cranky and or is it peaceful and calm and it feels right? Anybody want to share, Beth?
Sure, I'll share. Matthew, it was delightful. Thank you again. We had or I had a call from one of my siblings right before popping online, and it was one of those calls that just kind of got me off of my piece
Yeah.
and just pulled some of that edginess in. So this was lovely to really just remember the choice is mine. And so
Beautiful.
thank you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, those things happen, right? Every day. So I always recommend start the day with your spirituality, meditate, do what you do, tap into that piece. Like, really, if you wake up, first thing I do when I wake up is Course in Miracles lesson. It's like on my phone, I just open the browser. What's the lesson of the day? Before checking emails, before dealing with disturbing phone calls or, children, staff, colleagues, like whatever you got to do, challenges through the day. Start with God, get a line there. At the end of the day, reestablish the alignment. The problem is some people never actually are aligned, right? We don't have a clear center. We're just all over the place. But yeah, no matter what's happening, you can just plunge into that space. Thanks, Beth. Daphne said very peaceful. Grishka said peaceful and calm. Very deep, a blessing to release buildup of tension, to find peace and alignment with goals. Thanks, Rhonda. And Belinda said, calming, peaceful after emotionally charged day. Thank you. Beautiful. We'll do another meditation as well to be sure we're feeling it beyond just intellectual sharing.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sharon. So it was really cool because when I dropped out of I was on the couch and I dropped into this beautiful pink and like lavender colored pool of warm
Mhm.
light, and it felt really great. And then when you said, look at yourself up there on the couch, and then, like go back up, it's like the light, I was all, like lit up and pink and purple, and I floated up there and I connected back in with my body, and then I could see like some darkness,
Mm, mm,
where the darkness was. And
mm,
so that was really cool. And I thought about, some of the things that are kind of weighing me down then. And I
mhm.
brought them back into the pool with me next time we dropped down. So it was really, really cool.
Yeah.
Just
Mhm.
having a little light helps you to see where the darkness is. I thought that
Yeah.
was really interesting.
You got it. The line is the closer you get to the light, the more you see your shadow, right? That's a good thing, right? When you just keep, if you just keep putting your attention on light, it's not that you're suppressing the shadow side. It's just it's going to come up. And you said you actually brought it to the light. If that worked, wonderful. I'll just give you a Course in Miracles teaching that a lot of the times we find like darkness in the heart, whatever we talk about, the subconscious, the emotional pain that we have in there. And that really clouds our awareness of all the stuff we're talking about. The Course says, don't bring truth to illusions, bring illusions to truth. So I know that meditation we drop down and under, but tonight, now, soon, we can do a meditation where we go up into the light because it's everywhere, right? You find it above, down below. But when you have darkness and pain in your heart, seriously consider bringing that to awareness so you can be aware of what it is. You're bringing the darkness to the light. And then once it's there, the light can meet it and help to actually correct the errors. A Course in Miracles basically says once you're aligned with this way of thinking, you become part of the great crusade to eliminate all error. Right? And so that's really what the miracle is. What is forgiveness? We're letting go of illusions or errors to reclaim the truth. Right? So yes, you could, as the light, you can come down to your inner child, if you want to look at it that way, who might be scared, and you're bringing the light and love to that part of you. But also consider you can bring these parts to consciousness into the light, and whatever you can feel, you can heal. You can transform whatever you bring up. So thanks for sharing, Shannon. However you get the light to it, right? You're aware of the darkness and you can infuse that with more presence, with more, awareness of love's presence.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sharon. Great. Any other sharing? And then we'll just keep diving
Hi,
in.
everybody. My name is
Yeah.
Shin.
Yeah,
And
go ahead.
Sharon, I had a very similar experience. The moment, Matthew, that you mentioned the word forgiveness before the meditation, I got pain behind my eyes.
Uh,
And I knew exactly what it was. And
mhm,
it was not forgiving somebody in particular that I've been thinking about for the last 2 weeks. And then when we did the meditation, when you dropped down, you came back up.
mhm,
You said, "Is there anything there that's stopping you?" And I could feel my ego bringing a pain in my head to my back of my head. And so it was great. I was so relieved when you said drop down again and come back up because then it left.
Beautiful. Awesome. Good,
And
good.
just
Yeah,
one
yeah.
other thing I used to mention on alignment
Mhm,
during the week. So I struggle a bit trying to make time to do meditation,
yeah.
and it's not a new thing to me, but I still struggle with it.
Mhm,
And so I did a stress test. It's a 35-second recording of your voice
mhm,
before, and then I meditated for about 30-40 minutes.
mhm,
And before I meditated, the stress was at 60. So that's called high stress.
uh,
And then when I did my meditation, it was at 11. So it was
beautiful.
really, really cool thing for me to experience.
Yeah, nice. Measurable change, right?
Mm.
So you're saying, yeah, awesome. Good, good. So cool. So you know how to shift. Yeah, I said it's like hard to find time to meditate. Again, just like 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening. Once we get into that habit, it's like brushing your teeth. You don't just do it once a week with a group. You don't go to church once a week and brush your teeth, right? Like morning and evening, like no matter what, we just brush our teeth morning and evening. If you do that for meditation, it tends to just bookmark the day. And then I always just meditate in the afternoon. And that's usually my longer meditation time. Like I'll work in the morning, then spend usually the afternoon, like today was a good 3, 4 hours in a meditative state. And then, yeah, do whatever you're doing in the evening. But beautiful. Thanks for sharing, Simi. And yeah. Just start remembering to plunge in often, because the core state, which we're talking about, the core of your being or core transformation, is called the core state. When you're there, it always solves the problem that you're dealing with. We've seen that. I'm sure everybody here is a graduate of our school who does core transformation the way we do it, like in a hypnotic regression. Let's say you were afraid of public speaking. It's stress in your voice, as Sinead said, and you're nervous at first, but then go into the core state, tap into what we're talking about. Once you're there, then say, now how do I feel about public speaking? Now how do I feel about going to work tomorrow? It's always going to be different from that higher space. Beautiful. Let's do another meditation to align with that. This one I do frequently, just like the one we did before. This is, to me, the quintessential meditation of what interpersonal hypnotherapy is all about, which is basically, like we talked about last time with stages of spiritual growth, entering the marketplace with helping hands, where we come back down from the top of the mountain, metaphorical top of the mountain, we enter the world being of service. So you're welcome to close your eyes and let's go through a meditation we call the Healing States of the Masters, which I'm sure some of you have done before. You're going to want to come up with a role model first, somebody who would represent the highest levels of spirituality. So many will pick Christ or Buddha or Krishna. You might choose Kuan Yin or some other great saint or sage, or just imagine a beautiful angelic being. Right, just come up with who that might be now, so you don't have to think about it once we go in. And then again, just allow yourself to drop back within, to go to that inner space where it becomes more calm, more quiet, more peaceful. And then start to imagine you find yourself early morning in a beautiful valley surrounded by mountains. Take your time to sense you're standing in the earth. You can look around and see vast open meadows and rolling hills. You can see the foothills of the mountains and then eventually the high peaks that tower up to the sky. You might notice if there's snow in those peaks. Get a sense of the land, the time of year, the time of day. See what you see, the grass, flowers, maybe a stream or a small body of water. You can notice the forests, maybe clouds in the sky, the position of the sun as it's continuing to rise. As you stand there in this meadow, seeing what you see and hearing the sounds, and just feeling how you feel, making it real. Notice that you're not alone on the earth. Start to imagine there's other people. Of course, there's other creatures, animals and plants, but mostly you get a sense that you're here with a lot of other human beings. Some of them you know, some you don't know. Some you're upset with, others you love and you're okay with. Notice every type of gender, skin color, ethnicity, race. You'll see healthy people, you'll see sick people. You'll see those who are in love, and you'll see those who are fighting. And get a sense of how you feel standing amongst all these people, doing people things. Now, instead of looking horizontally around, look vertically up towards the top of one of those mountain peaks. And you can imagine there this great being, the role model that you had chosen, standing there, looking down on everyone in the valley, including you. Imagine this great being starts to send light and love to everyone in the valley. Imagine you turn and face that great being and let the light pour into your heart and into your hands as if your palms are turned up to receive it. Let it shine into your face, into your brain, your mind, your heart, your body. Now imagine as if you can float up out of your body, out of those rays, out of your body, up those rays of light, floating up higher towards the top of the mountain. And imagine that you land to stand right next to this great being and just feel how that feels for a moment, to be in the presence of someone who's pure, pure light, pure love, pure joy. There's no ego in this person. They're completely clear. Now imagine you can look down at the valley through your own eyes and your own heart. See everybody down there, including you. Notice how they're all bathed in this light of love and grace. And yet notice many of them aren't even aware of it. They're still fighting with each other. They're still creating problems and sickness and chaos. But you're just watching from above. But instead of looking through your eyes and feeling through your heart, imagine as if you step inside of your role model. Enter into their being, into their mind and their heart. Notice how light and love is pouring through them, extending to others. But what is it that they do internally that makes them such a great being? Are they thinking and planning and analyzing? Or are they just empty? Are they judging and criticizing, or are they just an open conduit for the light to shine through them? Sense what it's like to have your heart that unconditionally open and your mind that clear. You're not condemning anyone down there in the valley. All you can do is just keep blessing or giving, extending love. Just see yourself extending love as this great being. Then you can imagine that you float right next to that great being again to observe them. Sense more of who they are. But then you're going to float back down those rays of light back into the valley. Yet notice that something is different. What if you were more enlightened, more full of light? What if you were walking around with a heart filled with love while on the earth? What if your heart was 360 degrees like the sun shining in all directions to everyone you meet? Imagine walking amongst the crowds, amongst people, and wherever you go, your holiness, this is A Course in Miracles, your holiness blesses everything you see. Notice that wherever you go, flowers spring forth, conflicts resolve, sickness transforms, chaos transforms, back to peace, back to health. And I invite you to take a breath and bring that same feeling right here now, right to your body. Inhale that light from below all the way up to your head as if it's above you. And exhale, let it come down through your body once again. Again, the way to get totally aligned with this is forgive. Any thought you have right now of another person where you're upset with them, that person probably already came to mind. Forgive. You're forgiven because you're just mistaken. No sins to be punished, just errors to be lovingly corrected. I forgive and see the truth. I forgive, I return to the truth. Right here now, breathing it from toes to head, from head back down through your body, letting your heart, your mind, much more calm, peaceful, centered, and relaxed. And when you're ready, once again, you can take your time, you can open your eyes, we'll check in. All right, so no hurry, take your time, transitioning from that one. So yeah, we'll go back to the PowerPoint, talk about the different categories of life based on living from this level. You get what anybody like to share? That meditation, I think I did at a recent conference, and it's in my book, Interpersonal Hypnotherapy. To me, it's the essence of the work we do. We realize who we are, like the being on the top of the mountain, but then we come back down to be of service. All right, and yeah, feel free to share if you like, but let's go back to life categories prioritized and spend some time, there we go, talking about what does A Course in Miracles say about these different levels. All right, so here we're acknowledging spirituality as the highest and most important. What are some Course in Miracles themes about that? Number one, this is a choice, right? Remember, heaven is a choice I must make. The miracle is a choice. It's a choice to let go of fear and return to love. A very powerful lesson in A Course in Miracles is page 90. I could read to you and encourage you to consider this about spirituality in relationship to A Course in Miracles to be successful in every aspect of your life. It has to start with inner peace. Page 90, the italic bottom paragraph says, I must have decided wrongly because I'm not at peace. If not at peace right now or anytime, I must have decided wrongly because I'm not at peace. I made the decision myself, but I can also decide otherwise. I want to decide otherwise because I want to be at peace. I do not feel guilty because the Holy Spirit will undo all the consequences of my wrong decision if I will let him. I choose to let him by allowing him to decide for God for me. So I do not feel guilty, right? Even though I've made mistakes, because the Holy Spirit, which is in A Course in Miracles, the divine inspiration, the mind of God. It is the voice that literally lives in your very own mind that can discern real from unreal, truth from illusions. The Course teaches that the pure light, love, peace, bliss of God doesn't know darkness, doesn't have darkness, can't conceive of darkness, never created darkness. If spirit knew darkness, spirit wouldn't be spirit because a part of spirit would somehow be something else. In reality, there's only truth, there's only light, there's only love. So where is this darkness? Only in our own minds, right? We make that up. In A Course in Miracles, God creates. God creates light like him herself, right? So what substance does this being have to manifest from? Only its own self. There's nothing else. The one self manifests the sonship, or, the collective of all of us. When we're not feeling one with that, it's because we've chosen wrongly. And the Course is saying you could simply choose again. Don't feel guilty because the Holy Spirit is the part of divine mind that can see your illusions but doesn't believe in them. Wherein, if you use the word God, like Father, Mother, Source, that essence doesn't know darkness. But your mind does have darkness within it. The Holy Spirit lives in your own mind and helps you to sort out what's true and not true, what's real from unreal. You always want to be ever vigilant for what's real if you're aligning your mind with A Course in Miracles, but also for life mastery, right? If we don't start with a mind aligned with spirit, everything we plug into the formula will be wrong. In philosophy, we say if the first premise of an argument or a thesis is wrong, everything else that follows will be wrong, right? If I say I'm not a teacher, I am a gardener, and even though it's 20 degrees outside and the ground's covered in 2 feet of snow up here in the mountains, I'm like, I'm going to be a gardener. I'm going to go start gardening right now. That would be adharmic, meaning not dharmic, not aligned with who I am, not aligned with what's harmonious and what's real. Jiddu Krishnamurti, great teacher, he said, all decision is the sign of a confused mind. All decision is a sign of a confused mind. Here we're looking at page 90 of A Course in Miracles that says, peace is a choice I must make, but you're confused if you think there's any other choice, right? Love is a choice I must make, but what are you choosing between? Fear and love. That's not really a choice because it's either true or illusion. Why would you choose illusions once what the Course says is realize the wholly satisfying nature of reality? So if you're not feeling good at any moment, right, if you're feeling any form of upset in any way, the Course here is saying you must have chosen wrongly and you can choose again. It's saying you want to choose again because you want to be at peace. And then it goes on to say, and I allow the Holy Spirit, or again, the divine mind within me, to choose for love and light for me. So one takeaway for the spirituality category that we're looking at here is whenever I start my meditations, I pretty much, when I remember, but it's pretty much daily, and you can't just say it once. It seems to be every time you get any kind of upset or stress, this line is there. And you can call the Holy Spirit whatever you want, and everybody uses that term, right? But the Course uses that term. So you would just say, Holy Spirit, choose for God for me. That's how I start my meditation. So if you have one takeaway from the spirituality category for life mastery, it's a constant choice for spirit. And the Course says, be ever vigilant for God and his kingdom. Again, these are words. Not everybody wants to use the word God, kingdom, Holy Spirit. But if we were talking Buddhism, right, we would just say, be ever vigilant for Buddha and your Buddha nature, right? If it was Taoism and you wanted to feel one with the Tao, be ever vigilant for the Tao and being in harmony with it. But that's the real teaching. And in Taoism, if we looked at spirituality in that way, the Tao is the harmonious unfolding of things. It's how things unfold. The way waves go in and waves go out, and planets are spinning around in galaxies, right? All this stuff is happening under universal law. It's when we get out of harmony with that that we really start to suffer. There's also one other powerful idea we can utilize for getting in alignment with the divine tonight. Okay. Just looking here. If we start with page 65 in the workbook, Lessons for A Course in Miracles. Let me go back here. Life Mastery course. In the best way I can over all these classes, I'm going to be guiding you into vision, right? What is your vision? And I'm encouraging start with peace, love, light, joy, bliss, oneness. Get your mind aligned with truth. The crown chakra, if we were to talk chakras, when you go to the very, and you could do this now with eyes closed if you like, so you could experience it, move in and up into the pure conscious space above and between your eyes, but even higher, like crown chakra. This is called the seat of the soul. This is the space where you are pure spirit. We can find this in our heart, but if you close your eyes and just turn your attention in and up, way up into the crown, notice there's pure consciousness. Notice that you're aware. Notice that the essence of you is peace. But now I encourage you to drop down one chakra to your sixth chakra, your third eye. This is right above and between your two physical eyes. And the center here is vision. What is your vision? So the bodily eyes don't see. Spirit sees. For instance, I'd like you just to imagine a dream you've had. Just imagine bring up a memory of a dream. You see that imagery, right? Let your mind do a math problem, something complicated like 5 + 5 = 10. Just do that in your mind. Or just have any intellectual thought, just any thought. Notice that there's a you who's hearing and seeing, perceiving your thoughts. That you is the knower. That you is the witness. That you is the observer. Yet that you is pure vision. You have vision. Not goals, not egoic goals per se, but vision. The trick for really aligning with the Life Mastery course, aligning your mind with the divine, is align with the crown chakra, who are you as spirit? Align with the third eye, what is my vision? What is my mission? What is my purpose? If you bring awareness down to the throat is about expression, not just through words. But think about these higher chakras. At the crown, I am spirit. At the third eye, I know my vision. I know my mission. I know my purpose. When it comes down to the throat, we're expressing that. The natural energy of the throat is communication or creation. In A Course in Miracles, creation and communication are the same thing. When we create, we're communicating. When we're communicating, we're creating. Now go down to the heart. The heart's meant to be about love. You extending love. You want your chakras aligned with spirit. So once again, go back to the crown. I am spirit. Third eye, I have a vision of whatever it is. You can think of life categories. I have a vision of my home, my dream home. I have a vision of my family. I have a vision of my career. I have a vision of God. Down to the throat, I am expressing my vision, my mission in the world. Down through the heart, I do it only through love. And then we go down through the rest of the chakra system as things manifest into the world. All right, so you're welcome to have your eyes open or closed. So we'll go to Q&A in just a sec, but if you look on the screen, if you like to have your eyes open, when we do the getting organized process, we start writing things down, right? Number one, we write down our core mission statement. We focused on that. We'll have to come back to life principles and universal laws in a future class. Here we're looking at life categories prioritized today, which we'll go back to in a sec. But once you're clear in those categories, spiritual, mental, emotional, physical health, career and finances, relationships, etc., then what is the vision for each of these categories? Okay, so again, the Life Mastery course isn't just goal setting because, hey, I want the new Tesla or whatever. You can come up with ideas of things you want, but what is the vision that's coming to you from spirits, right? We want to chunk that down into the different categories. So what is my vision for, I'm using I word here, but I'm encouraging you to do that in your own head, right? What is my vision for my spirituality? The word my is unnecessary there, right? What is the vision of spirituality? It's a vision of oneness. You didn't make that. You didn't create that. That's just what is. God is one sea of consciousness, and we're all part of that. If we're not aligned with that truth, right, that we're all one, we're not coming from truth, and therefore whatever we're plugging into this formula, it's the wrong presupposition to start with. Don't start from we're all separate, so I'm going to be greedy and manipulative, and I'm going to control the world. Right? There's people who do that, but it doesn't work. What profiteth a man who gaineth the world but loses his own soul? Right? So we see that people who are just accumulating massive amount of wealth and hurting other people to do so because there's no spirituality where, it's seriously lacking if we're hurting other people. So one thing about spirituality, when we think about a vision, is it's a vision of oneness. Listen to some of the current Course in Miracles lessons on this. Page 65, lesson 42. God is my strength. Vision is his gift. God is my strength. Vision is his gift. And excuse the masculine pronouns, just how Course in Miracles is written. So spirituality, the most important category. God is my strength. So once we go down to the third chakra below the heart, right? So again, the crown is, I know who I am. The sixth chakra, I know my vision, which is one with everybody else, but I have my unique part to play in that. The throat, expression, communication, creation through a heart open to love. When you get down to the third chakra, your solar plexus, that's about personal power. God is my strength, vision is his gift. I have a vision and I have the strength to fulfill it. I have the means to fulfill it. You're not given a mission without given the means to fulfill it. So that's something to consider there. Lesson 43, God is my source. That's up at the crown, where it's easier to find. God is my source. I cannot see apart from him. God is my source. I cannot see apart from him. Vision is his gift. Like I get to see, I get to experience. Imagine life like in after the body, you leave the body, but there's only blackness. because you can't see anything. When you get out of your body, I do teach out of body travel in our school. I've been teaching it since I was 23 years old. I've been very proficient at out of body travel. Sometimes it's really dark. You don't see, but you can say, once you're out of your body, you can say, astral eyes open. And then vision appears. You can say vision. You just have a trigger phrase for let me see. And yeah, the third eye can be closed, but it also can open. So God is my source. I cannot see apart from him, meaning you're one with the divine right now. You don't have to leave your body to be one with God because God's everywhere. You don't have to go somewhere to find God. God already knows where you are, and God's right here now. It's about, the Course calls this a complete thought reversal. You turn the light around. Instead of being so focused on the world, trying to see the world, which is not true seeing, it's just perception in A Course in Miracles. True vision, true seeing, is turn the light around and look at the light of your own soul. Know that you're spirit. And then when we get down to the next one on the screen, mental emotional health, so we're going down the chakra system. By the way, if you haven't caught on, the Life Mastery course goes down the chakra system to help you to manifest this stuff into your life. So we go down to mental, which is very much felt in the head, right? A lot of your thoughts seem to be up here. And then your deeper thoughts, the subconscious mind, the emotional self down at the heart. So number one, what are we doing with this higher spiritual theme? You can focus on spirit by just closing your eyes, putting your attention there. You can affirm in your mind, I am spirit. Now you're thinking the thoughts you think with God. I am. That's true. I am light. I am love. I am peace. That's going to let your mind think the thoughts you think with God. God is my source. I can see apart from him. Lesson 44. God is the light in which I see. So you're getting your mind to think thoughts that reflect source. In A Course in Miracles, the ultimate cause of suffering is what's called level confusion. Level confusion, the cause of suffering. You think you're a body instead of knowing that you're spirit. When you know your spirit, you think the right thoughts. But in A Course in Miracles, mind is the activating agent of spirit. Mind is the activating agent of spirit. So you are spirit and you emanate thought. You're literally projecting your thought out of your being. But thoughts don't leave their source in A Course in Miracles. They're right here. So when they influence others, you're not alone in the effect of your seeing. You're not alone in the effect of your thinking. But when you hold a certain thought, just be sure it's in alignment with the divine down through the chakra system. How would you know if the thought isn't true? Just try this for a moment. I won't do much, but if you close your eyes and just think, I'm just a body. I'm old, I'm fat, I'm full of urine and blood and pus and bile, and I'm just going to rot on the ground, and that's all I am. How does that feel inside? I hope it feels really wrong, right? Or just think something like, I'm just stupid and worthless. There's no reason for me to even exist. Notice what those type of thoughts do to your chakras. They close the chakras. Chakras don't just open and close by themselves. Your thoughts are influencing the contraction or expansion of your chakras. When you think the thoughts you think with God, so let's practice that again. I am peace. I am love. I am light. I am joy. I am bliss. I think the thoughts I think with God. I choose to think the thoughts I think with the divine. I choose to have my mind align with the divine. I have a clear vision of my life's purpose. I easily express and communicate that in the world. I do it through a heart of love. I do it through the strength of the divine within me. Notice how those thoughts keep you beautifully aligned, your chakras open. All right, so I'm going down this list here. Course in Miracles for Spirituality. Sort out the real from the unreal. Choose forgiveness to let go of what's unreal. You can only forgive illusions. You don't have to forgive the truth. And you just realign back with truth. The deepest teaching, perhaps, is put your attention on spirit. Just close your eyes as much as you get a chance throughout the day and find spirit within. Then number 2, think the thoughts you think with God on the mental level. Remember, page 90 in A Course in Miracles. I'll just give you the one line. The way I say it is Holy Spirit, and again, call it whatever you want. Choose for God for me. Call God whatever you want, but you could just say, my Buddha nature, choose for Buddha for me, right? However, it doesn't matter what words we use. That wisdom is wise enough to know that you're choosing to align your mind with spirit. Level confusion is you're not thinking your body, which causes wrong thoughts, which causes sickness, by the way, in A Course in Miracles. Align your mind with spirit, and you think only the thoughts you think with God. If you're not happy and feeling good, it's your inner barometer telling you you're on the wrong track. So the teaching is trust your joy, follow your bliss. You know it's a pure vision that's worthy of action because it's lighting you up inside. Doesn't mean it'll be easy, and it could be scary for your ego because it's bigger than you might think you can contain, but it's not. The Course says, I do not choose my channels wrongly. Like if you feel like you've been called, then you have called to do something really important and you have the means to do it. Okay, so sort out level confusion. I'm not a body, I am spirit. I'm aware of the importance of inner vision and my strength that comes from that. As that comes down, now we move into the emotional, down into the heart and into the solar plexus. Again, the main thing is listening to how you feel. You know you're not in alignment with spirit when you feel bad. So all you have to do is stop, be still, and then a couple of teachings on what do we do with the emotions. Number one, never suppress them again. If you haven't caught on, never suppress an emotion. The moment you deny and push away an emotion, you're creating division in your own mind, right? I don't want to feel it. That's instant division. The problem is, where does that energy that you're denying, where does it go? Remember, I said A Course in Miracles teaches thoughts don't leave their source. You can't get rid of your negative emotions by suppressing them. You're only creating more of a subconscious repository of pain and future suffering. So whenever an emotion comes up, like Sharon was saying, I went, and I think Sinead said something similar, right? I went down into the light, right? But I became aware of like that darkness thing. Soon as we're aware of the darkness thing, which is ego, fear, anger, upset, grievance, don't ever use the power of your will to push it away. You literally bring it up to consciousness because the more you get to the light, the more you're going to see, the closer you get to the light, the more you're going to see your shadow anyway. Once it's there, don't act out on it, right? When you notice something comes up from ego inside of you, that's not meant to motivate behavior. So remember, don't push it down, but also don't act out on it. Just be aware that it's there. Now forgive it and give it to God. You're basically just letting it float up through the chakra system. There's literally a thought coming up before your awareness. Don't touch it. Don't push it down. Just, God, I forgive it. I don't need it. I don't want it. Learn to let go, and you'll just watch it floats up through the chakra system. It's gone. A Course in Miracles literally says if there's something in your system you don't want anymore, just ask Spirit to take it away and it will. If you don't want it, it'll go. You just have to be willing to let it go. And that's very much what forgiveness is. So when you're feeling an emotion, relax your body, keep breathing, feel, and just basically be willing to forgive. Forgive is some complicated mental process. It's literally spirit pulls back and says, God, I give it to you. I don't want it. Take it. Maybe you got to take a few breaths. Maybe it takes 20 minutes or 20 days, but either way, you're not holding on to it. You're letting it just burn away and clear. The miracle is when you truly let it go, and then the heart is open, the mind is clear. So you want this alignment down the chakra system of I'm a spiritual being. I'm only here to be of service. I'm only here to be helpful. I have a clear vision of what I'm meant to do. I'm going to express that in the world through love. So trust your joy, follow your bliss. When we get to the physical health component, in A Course in Miracles, so why are we talking about that for life mastery? The model here is health, wealth, and enlightenment, right? When we're not physically healthy, we're feeling terrible, right? It doesn't feel good to be sick. So what the Course teaches is if you affirm this one thing, you won't get sick. I get nothing out of sickness. So if there's a takeaway tonight on the physical health level, I get nothing out of sickness. Don't wait until you're sick to start affirming it. The Course teaches you choose how you feel before an event happens. Then when the event happens, you're already feeling that way. Choose before it happens. No matter what happens, I choose to be at peace. No matter what happens, I choose to keep my heart open. No matter what happens, I'm choosing to be healthy. Remember, the Course teaches I'm not the victim of the world I see, I'm inventing the world I see. So the body in A Course in Miracles has no purpose. God didn't create it. I know we're not 100% Course in Miracles this year. We talked about this a lot in last year's classes. Um, the idea that the world is an illusion, your body is an illusion, and God didn't create it. That's hard for people to grasp. We can go into it if you want tonight, but keeping this closer to the hour and a half mark, what I'll say is just trust me, at least I'm not saying it's true or not true. It's up to you to discern, but the Course does teach God didn't create your body. So what is the point of this thing? For most people, there seem like a lot of points, right? I'm going to use this body for 100 different things, wars, and all the things human beings do with their bodies. A Course in Miracles says those are useless journeys. It's a misuse of your mind. What's the purpose of the body for the Holy Spirit in A Course in Miracles? Meaning the higher, wiser, divine mind within you. The only purpose of the body in A Course in Miracles is it's a communication device. Because God's plan for salvation in A Course in Miracles is the plan for the teachers. Most people can't hear the voice of the divine directly within them. And Spirit knows that. It knows its children aren't happy. It doesn't know darkness or it wouldn't be pure light, but it knows its children aren't happy. And so the plan for the teachers was developed because not you personally, but because someone else can't hear the voice for God directly in them. They need to hear it through a teacher of God. One way or another, if you're aligning with this level of thinking, you are a teacher of God. Now, what does that mean? Doesn't mean you're a priest, but the Course has a line, I'm amongst the ministers of God. But what does that mean? The Course teaches it's impossible not to teach. You're teaching all the time, but you're either teaching one of two thought systems. You're either teaching fear or you're teaching love. When you misuse your body by misusing your mind, it starts creating psychosomatic illness, right? You're thinking the wrong thoughts. It's locking up your chakras. It's closing your heart. It's robbing you of digestive function. It's robbing you of immune function. When we give the body to be of service of spirit, and its only purpose is to communicate love, the Course says it is immune to sickness and death. Death meaning there is no death. The Course says that when your mission is done here, when the body's no longer useful, it will be gracefully laid aside. The Course sees absolutely no reason for pain or suffering in the body and definitely assures us, as do most other good spiritual traditions, you don't have to have pain and suffering. We know in hypnosis we can make pain go away very easily. And we know suffering is basically resistance to what is. We know suffering is a choice that we make. So keeping your body as healthy as possible in A Course in Miracles, I would offer two thoughts here. One, I get nothing out of sickness. Just start affirming it regularly, and the body remains remarkably healthy because we have what are called secondary gains. We get something out of having a problem. Well, I guess if I'm really tired, I don't have to go to work today. I get nothing out of fatigue. Well, if I'm sick, I don't have to go cook dinner. I get nothing out of being sick. I'm joyfully cooking dinner. All right, so I get nothing out of sickness. And then again, the other main physical health tip from A Course in Miracles, utilize your body to only teach and extend love, meaning you know who you are. I am spirit, I am love. My vision is a mission of being of service to others in some unique way that no one else can do but me. I will express that in the world through love. Because that keeps all the chakras open, the life force energy comes in and keeps the body remarkably healthy. It's still a body, right? It still could end up with cataracts over time and high cholesterol clogging arteries. It is a body. It will drop away eventually. But the Course says it will only drop away when the mind decides for it to drop away. If you're here with a mission and a purpose. So, yeah, the body isn't meant to be glorified in A Course in Miracles. It's used in the service of love, where you are a teacher of love. If you study the molecular level of the way vibration works in the body, like the study of cymatics and the way they've mapped out, yeah, the molecules of water, like when you're having a negative thought, what does it do to the molecules? I'm sure you've seen some of that. When you're mind is beautifully aligned with the divine, all of the molecules, and this isn't scientific, but it's kind of bordering on scientific now, so kind of pseudoscience what I'm saying now, but studying my sacred geometry and meditation book, the six-pointed star glyph or the star tetrahedral field is how your cells start aligning. Dr. Gabriel Cousins, who I studied with for a while, he used the term zeta potential. It's when all the water molecules in your body are vibrating this beautiful alignment. If you could look at the molecular structure, it's forming six-pointed stars instead of these chaotic patterns, right? So and study the work of Dr. Bruce Lipton, The Biology of Belief. It's not the nucleus of the cell that's the brain. It's the cell wall or membrane, I forget the term. But, spirit sends thoughts through the brain down into the body. You're telling all 70 trillion cells in your body what to do at every moment. When the mind and the heart are aligned with love, and I get nothing out of sickness, and the body's only here to be a vehicle for love, it stays remarkably healthy. Let's take a moment for career and finances from A Course in Miracles perspective. There's not much in A Course in Miracles on this topic, except that you have a mission, you have a purpose, there's a reason why you're here. One great Course in Miracles statement you could use for staying aligned with your career and finances: this cannot change my function. You can fill in the blank for what the word this is. Oh God, we just lost $1,000 in the stock market today. This does not change my function. Oh God, my child didn't get to go into this college. This does not change my function. Right? Um, I I just lost my job. Good. That doesn't change my function. Oh, I just lost a client. I needed that person to, help me to pay my car payment this month, and that client's not here anymore. Good. This doesn't change my function. So knowing that you have a mission and purpose, the little upsets that happen throughout the day or the things that might scare you in the short term don't matter because it doesn't change your function, right? Yeah, I know my mission. If you go to instituteofhypnotherapy.com, it's pretty obvious, like what I'm on earth to be doing. And I hope you have that same clarity for yourself, but if not, that's part of why we're here. But I know pretty much no matter what happens, nothing's changing the function and the mission. There is a line in the psychotherapy manual for A Course in Miracles, which is a supplement to the course, and it talks about the question of payment. And it basically says, should a patient be paying a therapist for therapy? Now, if you're not, a psychotherapist, I'm not. We're not claiming to be. I'm just quoting what's in A Course in Miracles. But largely we do hypnotherapy, and the teaching is still 100% relevant. The teaching basically says that when a teacher of God is fulfilling his or her mission on the earth, the money will be there to support the mission, not for your own egoic gratification, not so you can go buy all these fancy things, but to better help you serve the plan. And when the money comes in, you give it back to the vision, you give it back to the mission. The Course says to withhold the money that comes in, to not put it back into your mission, has tremendous cost. Meaning, if you're meant to be, like for me, I saw clients for 10 years in private practice, and then I realized I was advanced enough and it felt dharmic to open the school. If I took the wealth I had saved from private practice and didn't open this school, it would have had tremendous cost. In Zen, one of the precepts we follow, be generous, do not be withholding. The Course is all about giving. It says to have, give all to all. So for your career and finances, if you're doing your dharma, and I'm not saying be irresponsible financially, to the contrary, but the Course says if you want success on every level, give all to all, because the Course teaches all that you give is given to yourself. All that I give is given to myself. So you enter into career and finances with this level of thinking for life mastery, every category successful. I'm aligned with divine mind. My mind thinks the thoughts I think with God. My chakras and my heart totally open. I'm here to be of service to others. Again, align your mind with those type of thoughts. And then you get clear in your vision for your career and finances. And just trust the money. Here's the good affirmation. The money will always be there in abundance. Because it's a divine mission, the money will be there in abundance. But again, are you living divine mission? If not, you could be scared the money won't always be there. But the Course definitely affirms, even it says, even an advanced teacher of God has some earthly needs while he's here. While he's here, he'll be given what he needs to better fulfill his mission. It's either true or not true. My experience is it's been true because I'm 53 years old. The money's still there. The money's always been there. I'd like to just keep assuming I'm going to keep doing my mission, my dharma, and the money just follows. Also, we've talked about in this class, one of the secrets to wealth is find a need and fill it. Find a need and fill it. When you're being of service, doing your dharma, you are helping others. So if you're a hypnotherapist, you'd, as an example, because we're a hypnotherapy school, you don't have to say, I'm going to make $150,000 per year seeing clients. That's money motivated. Just figure out if I charge $200 per hour and I see 20 full paying clients per week. I'll do that for you real quick. Or maybe not. This isn't a guarantee. I can't do on screen sharing. But anyway, do the math if you're interested in like how much money could you make as a hypnotherapist. But the point is, if it was 20 clients per week at $200 per hour or 200 per session, again, do the math and do that 50 weeks out of the year, how much money would you make? But don't focus on the money, focus on the people. I'm going to be of service to 20 people per week. The money just follows, right? So career and finances, when it's aligned with life mastery, is in service to others, not in service of money, right? The money just follows. As long as you're being of service and you're offering something truly valuable, of course, people want to pay money for what's valuable. You're valuable, you're important. And if you don't believe that yet, that's part of the reprogramming I would encourage you to do. I am valuable, I'm important, I'm here with a mission, I'm here with a purpose. Let me just finish up some other thoughts for each of these categories. So hopefully you have some affirmations and takeaways for each one. Relationships. Any relationship becomes an opportunity for self-realization. In A Course in Miracles, relationships are the essence of it. That's why we're interpersonal hypnotherapy. It's all about the connection to others. The biggest affirmation I use here is only loving and harmonious relationships. If it's not loving and harmonious, it's just not happening, right? It always has to be loving and harmonious. The Course teaches it only takes one person to heal a relationship, and that's you. The Course also teaches that means that your only role, the only role you have as a miracle worker, as a light worker, as a teacher of love, is to accept the atonement for yourself, accept the at-one-ment for yourself. So it means every day, just come back into harmony. Well, as Beth, you were saying you had a disturbing phone call, but you came back into spirit, back into alignment, right? That's your only job. You forgive the past, meaning you let it go, because it don't even exist anymore. You forgive the person because we're not forgiving behaviors. They don't even exist anymore. But the person, I think you said your sister or somebody, right? When I imagine like my sister, I'm not going to see the past. I'm going to see her as who she truly is. Forgiveness lets you see others for who they truly are, not from your judgments in the past. Remember in the healing states of the Master's meditation, the Christed being, whoever it was on the top of the mountain, sees everyone as perfect being of light and love. When you come back down and you're still in the world, you see everyone as a perfect being of light and love. It doesn't mean that you're stupid and naive. Your inner guidance is really attuned. If that person's not coming from love, you'll know it even more so. But it's your job basically always to come from love. The Course teaches there's only two things you could do. You could extend love or you could call out for love. A call for love is anger, attack, right? I hate you. You shouldn't have done that to me. All of that kind of talk is just a call for love. If somebody's calling out for love, you extend love. If somebody's extending love, you extend love. Either way, the Course teaches in relationships only extend love. When you're working with clients and you're afraid of taking on their negative karma, all their, their negative energies, if you're just extending love, you'll never take on anybody's stuff. You're not a sponge to soak up people's stuff. You're the light of the world, blessing everyone in front of you. Nothing can hurt you because you're a pure spirit. But the theme is to keep extending love and light into all your relationships. Free time and recreation, education, housing, these things aren't, it's really the top five that I really encourage you to focus on. I can't highlight all five, but down to relationships, these are the most important ones. For life mastery, I can tell you though, the better you get at prioritizing spirituality, the more time you're going to have for spirituality and for just enjoying your life. Um, and then as far as philanthropy, just again, the reminder to give, to just keep being generous, to keep being giving. So that's the general theme in A Course in Miracles is if you do the workbook lessons, you spend some time meditating, you align your mind with spirit, that's going to be kind of in the chakra system, highest chakra. Get your mind thinking the thoughts you think with God. Get your vision clear and open so you know who you are and what you're meant to do. Mental emotional health, the chakra system is open, the heart remains open. You've learned what to do with your emotions, you're not suppressing them. That's clear. So, what is life mastery like as we're painting this picture? A spiritually illuminated, mentally, emotionally healthy person who's extending love and good works in this world, who's creating beauty in this world, who has a healthy, functional body, who has beautiful, harmonious relationships, and is just in harmony with the divine, basically loving life. And the other categories, your home, your vacations, your transportation, it all just falls into place. But the theme is never neglect the top five priorities. And I can't recommend enough doing A Course in Miracles workbook lessons if you haven't, because it will help you. The theme of tonight's class, right, is, and then we'll go to Q&A and move towards the end of time. Finding alignment with divine mind tonight. There's many ways to do it, but A Course in Miracles is just such a powerful way of getting your mind into that alignment. It's powerful, but it's also very gentle and easy. The lessons are as simple as could be. You wake up in the morning, you just look at a lesson, and page 121 said, lesson 121, forgiveness is the key to happiness. All you have to do is wake up, have that thought, carry it with you through the day. It changes your whole life. All right, Sharon, I saw your hand was up before. Thanks for your patience. Did you want to share anything or ask anything?
Yeah, when you were talking about the financial part, you said, don't allow like ego to drive your financial
Mm-hmm.
decision making or something like that.
Yeah,
And
sure.
it occurred to me that fear is part of the ego.
Mm-hmm.
So if I keep working at something that is killing me,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
basically I'm doing that out of fear, which is also ego, and I
Mm-hmm.
should probably let it go and stay home and meditate.
Well, it depends on what that something is, but yes, spend more time in meditation. Um, right. So if something's killing you, right, then it doesn't mean that that something is out of harmony. You might be out of harmony. For instance, in meditation, our school is state licensed, but we're not an accredited college yet. That takes some time to work up to that. So I was in meditation 2023, and the voice, as clear as day, down through the chakra system said, yep, you're creating Anahat University. It's time to go get to get accredited. I'm like, oh, for the love, like, oh, is that killing me? Yeah, people who go through the accreditation process, my advisor would tell me, like, you could end up in the hospital. You could be working so hard. So it doesn't mean that the challenge, if you want to, the course says actually there's no challenge for anybody who's totally certain of their path. However, it doesn't mean that you're not going to put concerted effort into making these things happen. So it doesn't necessarily mean that the thing is the wrong thing. But if I'm afraid, if we're going to use right and wrong, fear is a wrong thought, right? Fear is always of the ego. Spirit doesn't do the fear thing. Fear, F-E-A-R, false evidence appearing real. The ego is false evidence appearing real. It is the source of all fear. So I totally support you and spend more time in meditation. Again, like morning, evening, and honestly, I meditate at least a few hours a day. I couldn't imagine not doing it. It's always the best investment. When I get super clear in meditation, then I can revisit my vision. If I had any doubt, am I meant to keep running this school? Yes. By the way, the yes and no feeling with an open chakra system is really clear. Whenever it's a yes, all the chakras light up. Yes, with spirit. Am I meant to be teaching this class? Yes. right? But if I were sitting around all day and all my chakras like, this is so wrong. I'm not supposed to do this. I'm only doing it because I need the money and I'm afraid. Yeah, number one, I need to let go of the fear. But if the fear is what decided to launch a project, yeah, you're probably going to want to let that project go. It would be what A Course in Miracles calls a useless journey. However, it doesn't mean just because we have internal friction that the thing we're doing isn't dharmic, right? Like what I just described, the vision we have for the school, it's dharmic, I'm sure of that. But do I have fear that's come up? Sure. But I will let the fear go and just keep letting spirit motivate that. So does that help to like what you're sorting out?
Yes, I mean, I had a position become available several months back that was horrible. It was like I
Mhm.
was with the living as a living caregiver with a man who was verbally abusive. He was sexually harassing me. It was ridiculous, but it was
Mhm.
absolutely, no question, divinely orchestrated.
Yeah,
And
sure.
I did it and I learned a lot, but um I don't do that anymore. I'm
Good.
done with that job, you know.
Good.
But yeah, yes, that was very helpful actually. So I see what you're saying about the challenges that present when you do take the higher path. It doesn't mean it's
Mhm.
going to be easy,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah. Now, the
So
course actually goes on to say something like, you might find it challenging, like for sure, or exhausting, difficult, I forget the exact word, but it says, but there's nothing more rewarding and fulfilling, right? Because you know you're doing what you're here on earth to do. Like I remember when I was in private practice, seeing 5 clients a day. I remember like at the end of one 5 client, 10 hour, 2 hour session. So 10 hour days, 5 days a week. I was doing that all through my like 30s or whatnot. But I remember at the end of one day just going, like, God, like, thank you for letting me do this work. I'm helping so many people. It's really hard. I've passed out. I've like literally I passed out of my office once. I was seeing like 30 clients a week, and it was just too much. But that again, that might have been more money motivated, fear based instead of let me just have a waiting list and keep it balanced, right? Spirit keeps you balanced. It doesn't really overwork you, but it does tend to push your limits because the limits are self-created by the ego, right? And spirit's vision is bigger than the ego's vision. So spirit's vision will destroy the ego, but that's what we want anyway. So yeah, and like a situation like you were in, the course teaches all things work for good. And you said like it was dharmic, you were meant to be there at the time, but it also relationships in A Course in Miracles aren't accidents. If someone's in your life, they're showing it's, if anything, it's just an opportunity for your growth. Because remember, the course is, I'm not the victim of the world I see. I'm inventing the world I see. So if there's somebody in your life who's really dysfunctional, you definitely want to say, how is that a reflection of you in some way? Either you're like them, if you spot it, you got it, or you just have a strong charge against it. You might be like, I'm not a sexual abuser. I would never do that. I hate people like that. Well, you got to look at your hatred. It's okay. You condemn the behavior, understandable. However, the anger and animosity and the grievance and the vengeance, that's the stuff we need to let go of. Usually, once we do, spirit moves us on to a higher level of functioning. My experience is the divine will always use you at the highest level you're capable of vibrating. And if that was the highest level you could vibrate at the time to help someone in that way, great. But once you learn that lesson, it's just a continual movement from grace to grace instead of like constant fear and challenge and fear and challenge. Yeah, knowing you're living a divinely inspired life. Not always easy, but worth the price of admission.
yeah, I think I attracted that
Mhm.
relationship with him because I fear narcissists. And he
Mhm.
was a narcissist. And I think that's what I had, like a great fear, almost like an obsession with
Mhm.
fear of narcissists because I was living with one previously. So
Yeah.
I think that's what happened.
Yeah, there's a
But I'm
pattern
free.
there. Yeah, there's a pattern there, whether you can see it or not, right?
Mhm.
So there was him, there was the person before that. We all
Yeah.
kind of know you don't have to be a PhD in psychotherapy. It probably goes back to your parents, right? Like,
Yeah.
we grow up with certain people, we start to expect this is the norm. We develop beliefs about ourselves because of parents like that. People will support us in what we believe about ourselves. So if you're like, I'm just somebody who's not important, my parents are the most important, it's always about them, not about me, you're
Mhm.
programmed that way. You'll keep
Yep.
attracting people who will keep supporting you in that until you basically get the lesson. not from a narcissistic sense, but the life mastery courses, I prioritize number one. I prioritize my spiritual, mental, emotional health. No one has the right to keep me from that. One of the assertiveness principles we teach in the school is I have the right to strive for self-actualization, from Dick Sutphin. I have the right to strive for self-actualization, right? So if somebody is being narcissistic and holding you back, right, it's not that you're going to be narcissistic, but you're honoring the importance of prioritizing yourself. Right. And then with the high self-esteem that comes from that and the inner barometer aligned with love, when somebody's not treating you from that space, you're like, yeah, thank you. I'm done with that. I don't have that. Right. So you can be assertive, but at some point you don't even need assertiveness. You just don't attract that kind of thing anymore. Right. Because the whole, again, A Course in Miracles is a radical thought reversal. Once that thought reversal occurs, you really stop attracting things that you would have in the past. Awesome.
Beautiful.
Thanks, Sharon.
Thank you.
Any other sharing or questions? And we'll start to wrap it up for tonight. I'd appreciate everybody being here next week. In 2 weeks, 2 weeks from now, we'll go into Zen, looking at life mastery from the path of presence, right? How can Zen Buddhism, Zen meditation, Zazen, and the general philosophy of life help to make life mastery just that much more sweet and refined? So thank you, everyone. Any last questions you're sharing before I wrap it up? All right, thank you all. Yeah, we got our retreat up here in April in the Adirondacks, so I hope you check that out on our website, and I'd love to see all of you there. All right, have a good night. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Appreciate it. Good night, all.